Hey, all you Holly weirdos and even gamer babes and geeks, buckle up because today we're summoning some serious spirits and also some magic. Our guest isn't just a content creating queen. She's a ghost whispering, magic working, controller wielding, I think that's it, force of nature. There we go. She streams and she screams, sometimes at the ghosts, and she's got stories that'll make you stay up way past your bedtime. Yes, weirdos, we're talking about Oh, It's Robin, horror content creator, Twitch enchantress, and part-time tenant, and a very active haunted house. Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. We'll dive into her haunted Airbnb experiences. Spoiler alert, there's a mystery door involved that opens and closes by itself that when it's not supposed to. Her ancestor-led magical practices and how she slays both in game and in the spirit world. So you definitely want to grab that salt lamp or that salt shaker, your crystals, charge those controllers. I'll wait. Never mind, because I have no patience. And don't you dare open that door because Robin's about to take us on a ride through the spooky, the digital, and the divine. Let's get Holly weird with Oh, It's Robin. Hey, all you Holly weirdos, we have a couple announcements we want to make before we jump into this haunted episode with Oh, It's Robin. First off, got plans this June? Well, you want to cancel them. Yeah, you heard us, cancel them because the Windy City Parafest is blowing into Chicago, Illinois from June the 12th through the 15th. And it's about to be colder than a spirit's handshake and hotter than a demon in drag. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal pro or you're just a ghosty, curious little thing, this is the event to be at. We're talking about panels, investigations, and all the supernatural tea your EMF meter cannot handle or can handle, depending if you have charged up those batteries or brought more of those AA batteries, because you know that happens. And guess what? You can save yourself some coin for those overpriced airport snacks by using the code word HollyWeird at checkout. Yeah. Use code word HollyWeird to save 10% off in-person and live stream tickets. You're welcome. Yeah. So you want to float that little cute haunted tushy on over to windycityparafest.com for all the details and to purchase your tickets. Trust us, you don't want to miss this. And hey, speaking about spooky exclusives, don't forget to check out our Patreon, where we drop video interviews, spill the ghost tea in our secret podcast society, a Saturday Night Ghost Club. Let me tell you a little bit about it. We have collected real ghost stories straight from the streets. And we are talking about from like people like our acquaintances, our hairdressers, our nail techs, that dude down the street that for some reason never mows his lawn. And we have it all in this one ginormous secret little podcast club of Saturday Night Ghost Club. All right. So you get to have access into that. You'll have access into some videos that we've popped up in that little joint from our little excursion on the Queen Mary. Yeah, you get to see Bryce do the Estes method in the Queen Mary, the Beyonce of the Seas rope deck. It's all there. Plus, I take you with me on a little haunted tour in one of the most haunted restaurants in New Orleans. Yeah, it's all jam-packed there. And you'll see our most recent interviews with kindred spirit star Adam Berry, and of course this interview with Oh, It's Robin. You get to see all that wrapped up in our little Patreon. So if you're feeling generous, you want to head on over to patreon.com/HollyWeirdParanormal, and for as little as $1 or more per month, you can become a Patreon member and support the podcast. Feeling even more generous, then you want to head on over to Apple Podcasts and smash that 4 or 5-star review like it's a cursed mirror. Yes, it helps other spooky souls find us and keeps your fave ghost casters visible and vibing. Now, you want even more? Then you want to take that cute little spooky haunted tushy on over to hollyweirdparanormal.com to stalk us and to learn more about the podcast, to learn more about supporting our coffee addiction and ghost hunting habits. Catch up on past seasons and episodes, and hell, even snag some wicked merch while you're at it. So remember, stay spooky, stay weird, and most of all, just stay Holly weird. You know what to do. We'll see you at the Parafest, or maybe behind that mystery door. Okay, now let's get Holly weird. Hey guys, welcome to another delicious and spooky, and it's going to be a fun interview on Hollywood Paranormal Podcast. I am Tammy Merhab Chavez, one of your dazzling hosts, and here with me is the lovely...
Yes, hello, I'm Bryce Mitchell-Williams. Hi.
Hello. And then today we have one hell of a special guest, and we're finally happy to have her on. She is a content creator, horror connoisseur of films and video games, and also what we just learned are, a few ghost stories. She likes the spooky, she loves the horror, and she loves gaming. Guys, welcome Robin. Robin, we're just so happy to have you on. And
I'm happy to be here. I'm kind of fangirling a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
We were just talking. Robin does listen to the podcast. She's 1 out of 5 that listen. Just kidding. But she is an avid listener, and we're so appreciative. But we've gone back and forth on Instagram. There was a video that you mentioned us, but there was another one where you were talking about ghosts in your house and stuff, and that you have different types of energies that come and go. But real quickly, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then we could go into your journey in the paranormal, what you've experienced.
Okay. Well, my name is Robin, but most people know me as O as Robin M.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly play horrible horror games, so you don't have to. Listen, I'm just here on the internet trying to create space for me and other brown girls. So, yeah.
Hell fucking yes.
Yes.
And I love watching your videos of you game playing, because it reminds me when I would sit down and watch my older cousins play video games on their Super Nintendo. And I love watching gameplays. That's what I do on my spare time, is I watch people play Till Dawn or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah,
jump scares. I'm ready for the jump scares, because those freak me the F out and stuff.
See, me and my community, I remember us playing Until Dawn. We've actually played it, I want to say 2 or 3 times now. And I'm always like, how do y'all want to play this? And we're like, kill everybody, Robin, kill everybody. And I'm like, okay. So the game ends up being 2 hours, 3 hours long, because we just go through and obliterate everybody. So, yeah.
That is crazy. And another thing I love doing recently, I've been I've seen this resurgence of the old school Resident Evil games being played.
Yes.
Have you been seeing that too, Bryce?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I have a bone to pick with Resident Evil.
Scared.
Why? What happened? Chisme?
Listen, I am probably the only person who plays horror games that hates Resident Evil. And it all started because they wanted me to, I think it's Resident Evil 7, I think, that has Ethan in it, and he's chasing after Mia, and at the top of the game, she's like, please don't come here. And he had all these times to turn around and all these red flags. And I was like, this game just pissed me off. It makes no sense.
Right. Rightfully so.
I've noticed that a lot of video games are about someone chasing their spouse into she literally says, don't come here. She's been missing for 5 years. Why are you not remarried, Ethan?
Or that.
I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it was the phrase I said, red flags definitely looks like Six Flags when you're in love, though, I guess. So I don't know. I do not get it. I don't get it. And I couldn't finish the game because I was thinking about it so logically. And then he walks in the house. Well, no, he first outside of a house finds her ID covered in some black gunk. And he was like, what could this mean? Or whatever. I'm like, it means you need to turn around. It's none of our fucking business. What are you talking about? And then he just walks into a creepy house. The door is already open.
No.
Just take the L. There's other fish in the sea and you want to chase after the fish that's in a shark's mouth? That's crazy.
I'm just going to tell you this. I'm going to start making a list of all your sayings. Like, I need that on a mug right now. Just take the L.
Yes, just take the L, you know?
Mhm.
And I mean, I've never been married, and I have no idea how I will feel about whoever comes into my life, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to want me to walk into the woods to save them from a weird white guy who can regenerate his head, you know? Like, yeah.
That
And,
part,
they
yeah.
married
Yeah,
you, so
move
they
on.
know that
I
going
know.
into it.
This is why you stay out of the woods, period. But, you know, almost every horror film that I've seen, like,
Mhm.
oh, they're going to walk into the woods. Something's bad's going to happen. They're going to die.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Except, I will say, I have made, I don't know if to call it a bet or a promise with Mr. Latinos Against Spooky Shit, that we have to go ghost hunting, and he and I,
Mhm.
and this is probably against a lot of things I believe in, but we have to square it with a ghost. We got to fight it.
I will
And
say,
he told me, he was like, we're going to kick that ghost's ass. And I was like, we are.
you have to, like, what I've been doing a lot is, like, if I know a place is haunted, if I feel it, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, listen, there's some rules we're going to establish, and these are the ground rules. And if you don't abide by it, then I will Hail Mary the shit out of you if I have to. I'll pull every arsenal from Catholic school if I need to, even though I'm not a practicing Catholic. You know, I have my Palo Santo, I have like some sort of Florida water in here. I got all the arsenal, yes. But that is, yeah, Jonathan and I were messaging back and forth. For anybody who doesn't know this, Jonathan has been on this podcast before, Latinos Against Spooky shit. If you saw it in the woods, you know you didn't. That guy. So we were talking and he's like, I need to go to LA and we need to get Robin over here so we can all do an investigation. And I'm
Tell
like,
me a
that'd be
date.
perfect. Yes, because it would be me, Bryce, you, and Jonathan. So we have pairs.
Yes, Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Scooby doing it. So yeah, I mean, just let us know when. But I know that he's supposed to be here. I think he wants to come in the summer, so we need to get you here some way, somehow. We'll make it happen. If you have to stay here in my guest room, you're more than welcome. Which looks like something out of an OnlyFans right now.
Oh, okay.
I know people are like, where's your office? I'm like, it's an hour away from me. This is the guest room that we're trying so hard to figure out how to turn it into a study because my husband has confiscated the garage for his drum studio. So I'm like,
well, I just moved into this room. This is actually the most active room in our house.
Stop.
Actually. So I always tell, like, whenever I moved in here, I told my chat, I'm like, listen, if you see something, it's okay to discuss it, talk about it or whatever, which they have seen things on my stream. It used to be where I would stream from my bedroom.
Okay.
And I had my camera and everything in direction where you could just see the entire room. And then I kept getting people who were, I guess, sensitive or something like that write me and say, hey, Robin, I don't want to freak you out, but there's somebody like in the corner, like just kind of standing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, stop pointing him out. But it was this one girl, she got into detail. She was like, he's not really showing himself. It's almost like he's masking himself on purpose, but he's looking like he's curious about what, you're doing, but he doesn't want to intrude. And I was like, yeah, because I told him not to. And I'm glad he's listening.
Not the only man listening is a dead man. Come on now. Come on now.
I actually know who he is. He's my daughter's dad.
Oh, damn. So how do you know, like, it's him? Have people have they described his appearance, or have you seen him, or?
Ooh,
Let's
okay. I
get
have a
into
story
this. Yes.
about. Be careful what you ask for because sometimes you'll get it.
Damn it.
Okay. So, he actually passed away in 2006. He passed away when my daughter was 3 months old. I didn't write off grieve him. I went just numb to it. It literally wasn't until she was about 9 until it hit me. And I mean, that's probably strange, but I don't know why that is. So it's when I really started looking into his death because obviously he was young. It was an accident of some kind. I'm not going to get into the details too much, but I just wanted to know all these things about what happened that day. And I got the newspaper article, still have it to this day, actually. And I remember being in bed, and it was to the point where it's almost like he died yesterday. I was grieving hard. So I remember saying out loud one night, I'm like, if you think that I'm doing a good job with our child, if you're watching over us or something, please show me, please let me know. Okay. And nothing happened for a while. And I remember there was a dream that I had about him that I don't think was a dream. I think it was him. Um, and it was me and his usual where he would come over to my house and we would just go walking, whether it was to the store to get us, like, we would just walk a lot. And we were talking, chit-chatting, and then he looks at me and he was like, well, it's almost time for me to go. And I was like, well, I don't want you to go anywhere. I don't want you to. And he was like, Robin, I have to leave. But he was like, I want you to know that I do think you're doing a good job. So I remember waking up for that and I cried the entire day. However, I want to say months from then, I had picked up my daughter from school, supposed to meet my sister for Mexican food. I'm the person where I don't want to use the bathroom at the restaurant. So I stop by my house, use the bathroom. I go to turn into my room to grab something. There he is. And you know how you tell yourself, oh, I would run. I wouldn't. I
No,
did
but
not run.
you're processing, right? You're like,
And it was like him from like the thighs up. It's like he faded as he went down. And then later on, like I kind of learned that it takes a lot of energy for them to present themselves.
yes.
So maybe that was a thing, but it's almost like he didn't see me. It was almost like a picture of like he was just stoic. It was just him. And I stood there and he stood there and he just eventually dissipated. I run to the car and I'm like, this is what I just saw. My sister believed me. And she was like, well, you said. Because I mean, she's lived here too. We've lived in this house since 2003.
Yeah.
But she was like, you asked. And my sister is actually somebody where they gravitate to her and my nephew all the time. They see stuff all the time. If you have anything in your house whatsoever, my sister will know it. Yeah.
That is amazing. That is so astonishing. And I mean, that proves that our loved ones are always nearby. Also, I mean, that is another good thing I noticed is like it wasn't immediate. Like he took his time. I think that, he needed to gather energy and or, he felt like this would be the perfect time after, this set weeks or months, your feels and everything.
And I'm not sure why it hit me so hard like later. Because whenever I got the call and someone told me, it was literally like, and I'm like, I don't know. I just didn't process it. And for
Yes.
some reason that year that she turned 9, I was like, I need to teach her because I have a special needs child. I was like, I need to show her things. I mean, she has pictures of him and so on and so forth. And I remember the first Father's Day that we ever celebrated. Her wheelchair was being worked on. I didn't have it. I was getting ready because I had this basket made. I was getting to say, I'll just wait until her wheelchair is ready so I can take her out there. I don't have to carry her. But something told me, like, Robin, no. So this was my first time going to the cemetery that he was in. And I had no idea where he was. I'm like, I'm gonna have to carry this child around this cemetery. And my daughter, the way she gets around is she can kind of crawl around and maneuver herself to where she wants to go. So I'm getting her out the car, sat her down, she takes off. And she found him. I literally, because my mom was supposed to come with me and I called her and I was like, I'm struggling, I'm sweating, she's heavy, and she keeps trying to crawl away. And my mom was like, let her. And she crawled right to him. So I'm someone who feels like energy, like there's no way that you cannot believe that there's not some sort of, I guess, life after death. I think we keep our personalities, we keep our sense of humor, we keep our likes and dislikes. I also come to terms with like, I think they miss us just as much as we miss them a lot of times too.
Yes.
And I don't know. It's to the point where I was actually trying to get into, like, I guess, death work, like being a mortician of some kind.
Mhm.
But even though I was originally terrified of death because my mom traumatized me,
Oh, no.
my first experience with death was not a good one.
How does she do it? Because mine kind of fucked me up too in a way.
We actually talked about this, and I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna tell this story about you. So we had close family friends, and at the time, the matriarch of this family was sick. It's of what I know now to be cancer. I'm not sure what kind, but she had cancer. And it was this one particular time we all went to this county fair. And I want to say I was probably like 7 or 8. And we ended up leaving early. And I remember all the kids being upset, but we left early because she didn't feel well. She was having a really bad time. And probably a week or so after that was my time to go with my dad. My parents had like a whole arrangement for me and stayed there my 6 weeks, came back. My parents met at their usual meeting spot. So I remember this vividly, this day. Well, this night, because it was dark outside. It was nighttime when she did this to me. So we get me a Happy Meal. We're going down the road, and I remember we passed by our street, and I'm like, where are we going? And she was like, we got to make one stop, and then we'll go home. Okay, cool. So we stop in front of this building, and I hear like gospel music, and I'm like, this heaven took me to church. I'm upset.
Right.
We walk in.
No.
There's like a casket just laid out. And she takes my hand, brings me up to it, and she was like, you remember who this is? And I'm looking, I'm like, is she dead? And she was like, yeah, she passed away a couple of days ago. When I tell you, I was terrified from that. I could not sleep at night because I thought that lady was going to come and get me.
I mean, yes, rightfully so. Oh my God. Oh, this is not the way to do it.
No.
Mom.
And then
So,
the next
like,
experience I
lulling you-
had was
lulling
my
you into
great
a sense
aunt.
Security with McDonald's is crazy.
Yeah, she took me to get a Happy Meal
fine,
first.
you're fine.
That was not happy. That meal was not a happy. That was not.
Mm-hmm. My next experience, this was in 99. My grandma's sister, she had breast cancer. She was in hospice care. She was a bit of an older woman. And I guess they were like, she's not going to pull through the night. We want all the family to come in. And at the time, it was her house, and then next door was her son and his wife. So all the kids were at the son and the wife's house, and all the adults were over there with my aunt and everything. And I remember it got like kind of late. Somebody comes and they get all the children. And they say, come over to Aunt Ray's house. We all get in there and we watched this woman take her last breaths. We heard the rattle and everything. Who would show this to a group of children?
God. Okay,
So
maybe.
my first couple of years,
I'm like a little, I'm aghast.
I know,
that's
and I'm looking at my experience. Like, I see why my mom did what she did. Okay, my mom.
my
told
mother
me,
just threw me in the deep end. Like, you know what? People die.
That's
my
right.
mom. It
That's
took her.
right.
It took her 2 months to let me know that my grandfather died, and we were in Honduras, and I remember seeing him sick, and then he just disappeared. And I would just sleep in his room because he had 2 double beds, and I would always like sleep with my grandma. And I would just notice his bed was always empty, and they would always say, "Oh, he's at work. He's at work." I'm like, "Well, when is he coming back?" Like, he told me he was going to play this game. We're going to go get candy. And then my mom took me to this church, and she was like, "We're going to light a candle." I'm like, "Why?" And she said, "Your grandfather's dead." I'm like, so I always had a hard time.
So you just been lying?
Yeah.
You just
Trust issues. The birth of Tammy's trust issues began with my mom and other things.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like you, I'm sure that's why you had a fear. Me, I've always had a weird way of processing death. Like, I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to figure it out. But I mean, with your mom, she just ripped the Band-Aid in a way that could scar someone.
It was literally, you remember who this is? And
That
I'm
is-
just like, I didn't know this woman had passed away. She did not say anything.
So I remember it was last week. Like, what?
right?
That's
My God.
pretty.
Mm-hmm.
My God. Imagine if they cremated like the body and they're like, "Oh, this is your grandmother." What?
Yeah.
She's in here.
Yeah.
She
But now it is a thing where I don't go to funerals.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'm just somebody where I want to remember that person in the
Yeah.
manner in which the last time I saw them. I remember my grandmother passed away July of last year. She made it to her 90s. She had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. She lived a really full life. And me and her had actually discussed that I wouldn't be coming to her funeral, and she understood. So, yeah, we had that conversation.
That's good.
And she's actually one of the people that's here.
Let's
She
get into
drops
that.
in.
Let's get into
She
that.
drops in. Mom sees her. My mom,
Wow.
of course, even though my grandmother was in her 90s, my mom and her were like this. So my mom was absolutely devastated.
Right.
You know, my mom's the only girl. And I remember it was one time me and her heard her voice. And we both peeked our heads out the door. We're like, did you hear that? And my mom was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, okay. And I dream of her frequently. And I think she just knows that my mom is still hurting.
Yeah.
And she's still, and she says every now and again, like if she's having a tough time sleeping or whatever, she can kind of feel her there and she's able to go to sleep. But yeah,
Good.
her and my grandma was like, my mother was the only one she let kind of take care of her end of days and everything. So yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, I've had a discussion with my mom, my dad, and my grandma that I still have. I won't be coming to your services. My dad has put me in charge of his, and I'm like, I will give the paperwork to all the appropriate people, and
Right.
we're good.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of you have mainly loved ones that come that are there and come and go. And I mean, it just reminds me of this play that I saw in East West Players Theater. It was called Brothers Paranormal. And in it, I don't want to give away, but there is a scene where one of the brothers, finds out that his brother was a ghost the whole time. And that was the twist. He was kind of like 222 the play. We don't find out until the loved one is actually admits oh, I'm the ghost. And we're like, shit, okay.
Kind of like the others kind of feel.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But there's this one quote that I'll never forget that he said. It was such a beautiful line. And the brother that's living asks his dead brother, why do you stay here? Why do ghosts stay here? Why do they come back to us? He's like, we come back to you because of you. You keep us here, not in a bad way, but we stay because of you. Because you need guidance and we need to watch you. And when you're ready to let us go, we go, and I was like, that hit. I'm like, and it's so true. And I feel like, your daughter's father comes back because of her and you. He's there watching. And I think he might permanently be, her guardian, spiritual guardian.
Probably, yeah.
Most likely. Do you have altars or anything dedicated to them in the house?
Yeah, my grandmother has an altar. He doesn't have one. However, I do put a glass of water out for him.
I was gonna say.
He gets too. I'm
Spicy.
like, you need to calm down.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, my grandmother does have an altar. She's actually who I go to for at the top of the year, I did a road opener for myself and everything. So
That's good. That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Do you have practices of your own? Do you practice anything of witchcraft or voodoo or hoodoo or
Hoodoo?
Hoodoo. Hell yes. Hell fucking yes, dude. I love hoodoo. There is
I
a
don't
difference
really
between
tell people about it a lot because crazy enough, I will have someone. The thing of it is, if someone comes to me and they're like, I'll do a sweetener jar on you if you want to have some self-love. I'll do all sorts of stuff for you if you want to just have confidence or whatever. But baby, I'm not helping you with that man. Do I know stuff? Absolutely. Am I going to do it? No.
No, that's like our friend Tanya. Tanya's like, you want this man? If I do this magic, you're not going to want him. You're going to have a lot of problems. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get involved,
I am somebody, and I don't know how this is going to sound, but whenever I do hear about anything kind of domestic or someone being kind of obsessive or whatever, I do kind of wonder, was there a little something behind that? Because I'm somebody where I don't believe in love spells. I believe in obsession.
Damn, that hit.
And that's not what you want. Obsess is not what you want.
That is
and
so true.
I always look at it from the other person's perspective, where it's like 1 minute they had no love interest in you. Now all of a sudden they feel anxious when they're not around you. They need you and so on and so forth. That can cause confusion and they're going to end up lashing out at you. But at the same time, they don't want you to see you with anybody else. So now they're even more angry. So why would you even
Because people
want
don't
that?
really think about that. It's like supply and demand. They think that magic is the Amazon of getting things, celestial, love, money, and all that comes with consequences. I'll never forget when I was here I was attending witch classes like that were led by Mystic Dylan, and they were very informative. And there were workshops that people could attend. You could buy the package. It was like 5 days, once a week, or you could just jump in one class. And there's one class that was it was the spell candle making class. And that filled up so much. Women primarily went there primarily for love spells.
And it's kind of like, are you in love or do you just want to be chosen?
Exactly. And he did something very beautiful. He's like, as much as I want to do this and want to teach you, but I think we need to learn to love ourselves. Why don't we make a candle to love ourselves? And the women, they were like, no, I want this person. And one girl came in 15, 20 minutes later. And I think she was the aha for these women. But she came in, she's like, hi, I know I'm late, but I need a candle. Dylan was like, for what? Oh, I need to get rid of a guy. It's bad.
Ooh.
And we made space for her. We were like, come in, honey. Like, you need this more than we need it. So, those are things like, you wonder too, like, well, if she's coming in for a candle to dismiss a guy, what was her, path for getting him? And other words,
exactly.
Those are, and you're so right. I think, remember, Bryce, when we had Brujas Botanica, like she would do those spells. And the women that wanted the men got the man and all their baggage. Speaking of obsession, Robin, I think you probably heard that episode where women would get the spell done and they would get everything, the exes, the financial strains, everything. Like, you wanted him, you got him.
And like I said, you're not in love. You just want to be chosen.
Yeah.
You can't take it that he's not choosing you. And I mean, I'm a woman. I've been hurt before. I've had my little feelings torn into pieces.
Yes.
But nothing in me, I have no desire for someone who has no desire for me. So, I would do a sweetener jar on you all day. Like if you want some self-love or whatever. I even believe in doing it for a relationship that's already there. Maybe like, let's make some stuff in between us better, whatever. But that guy that's ignoring your text done blocked you, done moved on. He got a wife or something. Oh,
there's a reason.
No.
So what led you to this path of practicing hoodoo? And feel free to also explain to our listeners, there is a difference between like hoodoo and voodoo. I mean, they are parallel.
And I also get a lot of people, because someone came in my chat one day and was asking me about it. And I'm like, I got to ask you, what are you? Because these are closed practices.
Again,
thank you. Tell me about your ancestors. That's why I always tell people. And I made this joke before. I'm like, you want to go learn voodoo? Do not go to the freaking French Quarter to learn about it, because there's going to be a white woman named Diana, who decided to move from Detroit to New Orleans to work in the French Quarter, who used to work on motorcycles, is now making a gree bag. And that bag is from China. So here we go.
The way I like to think about it is, when I think of hoodoo, when I think of mainly hoodoo, I think of ancestors or whatever. And when I tell you how my ancestors are not serving white people, that their experiences with white people are not the best. Like, no, I can't tell you about nothing. I can't help you with nothing. I won't even, for them. And it sounds horrible, but I won't even do like a sweetener jar or nothing. I'm like, I'm sorry, my hands are tied. And it's actually my grandmother, which is crazy. This all started, crazy enough, we just talked about this, when I went through a really nasty breakup. I have a friend by the name of Tito, and he practices Santeria, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Whenever I was going through this breakup, I went to him, like a lot or whatever. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to help you with some stuff. We're going to let this go. We're going to get this off of you. You're going to, you
Yeah.
know. So I ended up having a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up having a dream, and Tito and an older woman came to my house. Now, Tito lives all the way in Florida. Okay. They come to my house, and this older woman, you know, it's almost like we knew her. We were just standing in the kitchen chopping it up like we've been around each other before.
Wow.
So we're done talking, and she takes my hand, and she was like, I need you to take me somewhere. We're going to go out. And I was like, oh, is Tito going? Tito's like, nope. He goes, he sits on the couch, he puts a pillow on his lap, and he puts his arm on it. And he thought that was so funny when I was telling him about it, because he was like, that's how I sit on the couch all the time in real life. And he's just watching TV. So me and this lady, we end up going to the store, and she has me pick out several things. I cannot say what these things are, but she has me pick out several things. And then I remember we get in the car, and we're leaving out the parking lot. And she said, take me to the church in which you were raised. And I'm like, what? She was like, take me to the church in which you were raised. And I took her, and we enter the cemetery, and she was like, who's in this corner over here? And literally, whenever you go to our church cemetery, over in the upper right-hand corner are all the women in my family. Every single last one.
Oh, damn.
And when I say this, you're going to know where it's kind of going. She told me to, well, I get in there and I throw down pennies and I say why I'm there. And I ask for permission to be there. And I get dirt from my grandmother, my aunt, my grandmother's grandmother, my great grandmother. And we take it back to my house and we put all of this stuff into a jar. And she tells me, she was like, all this hurt that it has caused you, she was like, I want you to whisper it into that jar.
Wow.
She was like, I want you to breathe in, and I want you to think about all the things that are hurting you right now and blow it into that jar. And in about 2 days, I felt better. I actually did it.
Yeah.
And
That's quick in
when,
2 days, too. A 2-day turnaround.
And then Tito, he told me, he was like, I think you've been invited. So he put me in touch with someone by the name of Mama Sunfire. I'm not sure if you know who she is.
No, but I'm going to research her after this.
He put me in touch with someone by the name of Mama Sunfire. And she and I hop on, like, I think it was Zoom or something like that. And she takes a look at me and she was like, what is your ancestors? What do they practice? And I'm like, nothing that I know of. She's like, where are you from? And I tell her where I'm from. She was like, yeah, they did something. And we live in like backwoods, North Carolina. But she was like, yeah. So she gave me references to like different books to read and so on and so forth. But I decided, and typically whenever I want to do something, whether it's good or not so good, what I do is I turn off all the lights in my room. I turn on the fan. I pay attention to the fan and everything like that. And I put my hand up here and I ask my grandmother. And then literally with maybe that night or the next night, she'll give me a yes or a no.
Damn.
Because a lot of things backfire, because I think of hoodoo, unfortunately, when it comes to left-handed stuff. I think of you next day shipping somebody's karma to them. Karma means someone deserves, right? So I think a lot of times things backfire, one, because the person didn't deserve it, or two, you were not the person meant to do it.
Damn.
So that's why I ask permission. So my grandma will either be like, yeah, let's fuck it up. Or she'll say, be still.
Damn.
Walk away. But yeah. And I literally got into it over a breakup, but I do know love spells, but I would never do them. It's good to have in your arsenal. It's good to have in your little book, but
No.
I do know left-handed stuff. I've only done it twice. Only twice.
And for others that are listening, can you explain like what is the left-handed stuff?
Left-handed means
And it's not like you're trying to cut paper with right-handed scissors with a left.
you done fucked around and found out.
I
And you done
did
fucked around with the
before while
right
trying
one.
to sew. I was like, this is not
Mhm.
working. Oh, his left hand is fucking me.
Yes, left-handed work is no bueno. You done got
Mm.
on somebody's bad side or whatever they.
Yeah, that's how I was taught about it. I was,
Mhm.
you don't want to be on the side of the left hand. I was like, what do you mean? And yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And that's why it is so important to have that connection with your ancestors, to have your altars, to really research this, to know. Because there are people who, well, I'm mad. My boss has pissed me off. Let me
Yeah.
make a sour jar.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Or going to TikTok and seeing people.
Girl. Yeah.
No.
Tanya Mercado, who I've talked about on this podcast, she's a practicing santera. And she's like, girl, I've had to report these fake santeras and santeros. People can grab these necklaces and wear them and say, I'm at this
Yeah.
level. And they would it's like robbery. And
Yes.
people are willing to pay $3, $5, even $1,300 to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of someone or to get money, and they keep on paying it. It's like they never learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm a baby. But I do know how important the connection with ancestors are.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
not just out here like, this person has pissed me off. Guess
Yeah.
what? I'm going to lay a trick of some kind or, whatever. And
Mm.
because a lot of times the karma is not meant to come from us. Sometimes it's like life will do it, or they'll walk around with the wrong person later down the line or whatever. You wish them well if the work is not meant for you and you just go on.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll say, yeah. Or she'll say no. There was one thing which my sister said she was going to listen to this whenever it posted. And I'm
I know.
going to say
Okay, say
yes.
it.
I'm going to preface it and I'm going to say, yeah, that was me.
What's
Her
up?
romantic partner did some not so favorable things. Okay.
No.
And my mom told me about it. And I just wanted to inconvenience him. I
That's a
didn't want
polite way of
anything
saying
bad.
it. Yes. That is a
I just
polite way.
wanted I just wanted to inconvenience him. And it was to the point his luck got so bad that my mother came to me and asked me, did you do something to him? And I'm like,
I don't know.
me?
Maybe.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. He got a boot on his
But
car.
oh, this man broke his foot.
No.
His water bill went up and tripled and everything. He was having a bad time. He couldn't sleep at night.
Dude.
And then as soon as I was done, I knew what to do to kind of
Yeah.
I took my foot off his neck and I'm like, yeah, do it again.
That's a reaction to his behavior. Sorry.
Yeah. Seriously.
But yeah, my mom asked, she was like, did you do something to him? And I'm like, what? Oh.
I know what
Oh,
you
they're like,
mean.
I didn't do something. I'm doing. It's in the
It's
present.
big
I'm not
difference.
done. Get him.
Mhm. And it's crazy a lot of times it's something I dream about, like what to do. And it's always something very simple. And I wish I could say it, but I don't want to say it because then people gonna go and do it.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
what
Don't
I
say it.
see
Don't
so
say it. They
much
might as
Yeah.
well try.
times, on
Yes.
TikTok
Yeah.
lives, on TikTok creators, the joy of TikTok of there's so much information that we're able to share more than ever. But fellow white friends, please, you must stop asking in creators of color, can you teach us? That's not
No.
for us. And they're not doing it for free. You can't ask them to do the emotional labor of teaching you something that's not ours for free. Every time I see it, I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's so crazy. I love hearing about your connection to your ancestors and your family, but that is the difference. That is the separating experience. It's not for other people. It's for your ancestral experience. I think that's so easy to miss on TikTok. You like it, you
Yes.
swipe it, you're live, you're sending your little roses. I get why it's happening, but we must stop. Absolutely has to not continue.
This
And
is history
it's
repeating
every
itself.
content creator of color that I follow, all be on their lives. And there's so many people. And I hope maybe that it is from a desire to learn and create space and be better than we've been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it. It's just not it. It's not for us in that way. It's for us to learn respectfully, but it's not for us to practice.
Yeah, because this started, like, my ancestors started practicing this during, like, in slavery. And, like,
Thank
no, my
you.
hands are tied. I
Thank
cannot help
you.
you.
I was
And,
reading that like in was it
mm-hmm,
NOLA.com? It was an older article because I was researching Marie Laveau. I want to learn
mm-hmm,
more about her, and people of color were unhappy with her. They're like, well, this is, people don't understand that she was a devout Catholic. And she went to church. She had her daughters baptized in, the Jackson Square, that St. Louis Cathedral.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of the work that what made her famous were white women because she did so much work for them and their husbands. Like she was a servant to them. Like when people wanted power, they went to her because they knew that, oh, she does voodoo. I need to win this election. I need my husband to desire me more. I need to also gain the heart of a loved one, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I was reading and researching, like she was very sought out to do that because people paid her very, very well. And a
Yeah,
lot of people looking back and doing research on her, they're like, yeah, I mean, she didn't keep it with the ancestors. She practiced it with the public. And there was
yeah,
this one woman, oh, I can't forget her name, but she said it so well. She was like, it's because, back in the day, white people wanted power. And this is what these individuals who were enslaved, they had this power.
mm-hmm,
It worked and they took notice and they wanted it. And that's how
yeah,
it got amiss.
And we are not that far removed from that. Like
No.
the trickle of culture coming from particularly women of color, not to be explaining to the two of you. I hear it. I'm so sorry. But I think it's important. I hope it's important to hear like a white man saying like, but we are not that removed from it because we still do this, like, especially as a queer man. I constantly am like, oh wait, is this queer gay male vernacular or was it stolen from like queer
yeah.
women of color? Like where did that come from? And like we're not that far removed because white people inherently crave the power and the culture and the history of the people that we oppress. That historically is why we were that in spices, like that we never used. Like
Ballroom.
it is rooted, and so it's like we're
Enough
not that
said.
far away
Ballroom.
from it. Yeah,
Vogue. Thanks,
yeah, right.
Madonna. Thanks, Madonna.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good example. That was a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, even like I'm approached a lot, especially whenever I do tell people that and I don't even think of myself as I practice this. I'm like, I dibble and I dabble or
Yeah.
whatever. But, and then you have to think of it too, like one day I'm going to be somebody's ancestor or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
True.
And unfortunately, my grandmother, who is my go-to person,
Mm-hmm.
was born in 19s in the South, and her experience with white people wasn't the best. So I'm just kind of like, I can't do anything for you, beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because who you think she gonna be mad at? Me. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Are there other people in your family currently that dabble or practice, or did you kind of come to this more solitary?
More solitary. I think it was very much something that they did in the past and they did behind closed doors and they did not talk
Mm.
about. But as it stands right now, I'm the only like person.
You're the
Yeah.
So
one.
I'm the only person. My mom did something back in the day, like when she was a teenager, and it's something that worked and it scared her and she never messed with it again.
Damn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was like, I'm not messing with that again. My mother is somebody who has had a lot of experiences as well. And it's because I'm from Chatham County, North Carolina. And the house in which my mother was born in was actually built in like the 1800s. And it was all
Oh man.
it's like farmland and all of that stuff. When by the time I came around, the farm was gone and everything. But when she was younger, there was cows, there was chickens, goats, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had like a lot of, I think my great grandmother, a lot of people have passed away in the house that she was born in. Yes, a lot of history down there, and we've seen a lot down there.
That's like Angel. Remember when we had her on? She talked about her family home in San Diego. She's like, yeah, I think she's had like 3 or 4 relatives that passed in the house and people see them.
Mhm.
They just see them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Damn.
I remember seeing things when I was younger and it not registering to me that that person isn't really there. So yeah,
Do you
it's
think you have abilities? I'm sorry
I
to
think
cut
we
you
all
off.
do.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
yours are pretty strong, Robin.
I think I do, my sister does, and especially my nephew. I think we do, or they kind of gravitate to us. Now, my sister is more kind of like a little scared when things happen to her.
Yep.
Me, I'm kind of like, I wonder who that was, you know?
Yeah.
You and me are aligned. I have to know this. What is your sign? Are you Aries, Libra, or are you in?
People are always so surprised by my sign. I'm a Cancer.
Me too.
Yeah.
Cancer
I'm a Cancer.
sun, Aries moon, Libra rising. No wonder
I'm
we click.
Cancer, Virgo.
I love Virgos. We get along.
But yeah, I'm always like, I wonder who that was. But yeah, so many people have passed down there. There are actually people, from what I understand, like a couple of kids down there, like babies and stuff that didn't make it down there. And they always refer to it, like my family, they call it the old home place. And we've all, like, it's almost like a rite of passage. We've just all lived there.
Mhm.
And it's still standing to this day, barely, but
Oh,
it's
no.
still, yeah, it's still
Who takes care
standing.
of it? Who is it
Right now,
livable?
no, you
Okay.
definitely can't live in that house. But
Yeah.
my cousin lives beside it, and he goes in there and he takes care of it. And I remember, actually, I think my grandmother went down there like shortly before she passed away. She lived in that house all her life. Like, she was born in that house, I think. Her parents lived in that house. And she always wanted to go home. Her last year, she lived with my uncle. She couldn't live on her own. And I remember her always saying, like, I can't wait to go home. I want to go to the house. I want to do this. My grandma had cats, dogs, chickens, all that stuff down there. And she just missed being able to live on her own. And I think my uncle took her down there, and within 2 weeks, she went ahead and she passed on. She was also the youngest of all of her siblings. She was the only one left. She outlived all her friends, all her siblings, and everything. That is why, and it might sound bad, and me smiling is kind of weird. When she finally transitioned, I was very happy because I'm like, she gets to see all those people. And
Yeah.
even though they were around her, like, I actually think that her sisters and her mom came to get her
Yeah.
because of things that she was saying. But I'm like, and I don't know, I couldn't understand why the rest, like, everybody was really saying I understand. And it's weird to me because I had her for like 35 years. A lot of people can't say that. But at the same time, I'm like, she was sad. So I'm like, I'm glad for her transition because she gets to be with her sister, her mom, and everybody. And I wouldn't want to experience being on earth and everybody that I knew was just gone. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think the process of passing away, like transitioning into that next phase, is just as important as being born.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
100%.
Which is, I think, a video that you had commented on before where I don't understand, like, a lot of, which is why whenever you do investigations and stuff and you're so nice and you're so sweet, I love it because I hate it. It's so cringy to me. It makes my skin crawl whenever someone's doing an investigation and they're like, show yourself. Did you
It's
die in this
so-
house?
Yeah.
Did you
so
murder
much.
the people in this
Yeah.
house?
How did you
Did you-
die?
What is your name?
Yes.
And I'm like, that's why you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
Imagine someone rolling up in your house and they're like, Tammy, tell me, you know?
Just swinging at that point.
I
Like,
know.
you're in my
I'm
house.
gonna
Yes.
throw a chair. I'm gonna throw
No.
a chair. They get that. They get all of the bad stuff. You know, it's like
Mhm.
you catch more honey with you.
Yes. And there's still people, like I said, I think we keep our personalities, we keep everything. And I mean, I think I'll be quick to talk to somebody who's like Robin, can you tell me about opposed to tell me now? I think the most traumatizing thing I've ever seen, I will not say who it was at all, obviously,
Until after we get off.
until after.
I
I
will
was
get that to
watching
you.
an episode of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they went to this prison where there was like a riot of some kind. And there was a guy who was set on fire. And they set